are you exercising your leadership? Sometimes we think that, well, this is the dance community at large, and there is a huge community. Let's talk about salsa, for example. I mean, it spans the entire globe. Every country, like I've been to 80 countries, and all of them, they dance salsa, and there's many more. In small towns, as Irina was saying, a small village in Romania, there are people that dance everywhere. So maybe as a leader, I'm thinking, well, I only have control over this small group that I'm in front of right now or in my city, and this is all I can do. And really, what impact is that going to have? Well, if you think of your leadership that way, of course, you're not going to want to take the steps to exercise it in a more powerful way. But if you think that every change you make, every change that you can contribute to, could contribute to a ripple effect of changes, positive changes down the road amongst many members of the community and then globally, well, all of a sudden you're going to feel more empowered to step out there and speak your truth and to create a positive influence and a positive impact on the people in your community, because you understand that it's not just a one-to-one, it's always a one-to-one to many. That's how impact, influence, and effect go. And so there's this element of, you got to understand you have a lot of power. You have a lot of power, but with great power comes great responsibility, right? Spider-Man. Great power comes great responsibility. You have a lot of power as instructors, as leaders. And if you can acknowledge that power, you will most likely approach it in a more responsible way. And you will take those steps to effect change, no matter how small, because you understand that the impact is longer lasting and further reaching than you could have expected or imagined. Then there's also this element of, in terms of exercising our leadership, is where we communicate those issues. So we have a tendency to complain about a lot of stuff, right? Like things happen, things we don't like, and we rarely go and address the issue head on with where the issue arises or where the issue exists. We tend to complain about it with other instructors, right? Sometimes I've been in discussions and conversations with other teachers who are like, well, students, yeah, they just don't understand. And my students, the followers are always complaining about the guys, and I wish guys wouldn't do this, and I wish the followers would pay more attention, or the leaders would be more respectful. I wish. And I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. But then when they come to teach in class, there's none of that information provided. Why not? This is your chance. You have a wish. You can actually make that happen now by addressing the issue and by bringing it to light, so that some people or whoever's there can understand that this could be an issue, because otherwise they've never even pondered it. So that's our responsibility, and exercising our leadership and exercising the authority that we have when we are in those moments and in those environments. And then lastly is this element of, how do we manage and control our environments? How do we set up the people that we are leading for success? And it's not necessarily about changing somebody's mind in one instant, but it is about understanding that when you are leading something, that you have control over that environment. And whatever control you have, you want to exercise that control. Just like you want to exercise your leadership in terms of what you're delivering, you also want to exercise your control over what you have control over. So if your environment is that classroom environment, make sure that it is according to the standards that you believe in, and that it exemplifies what your principles are, what your values are. So like I said before about timeliness, my classroom, my time. So if you're a student that signed up for my class, maybe you show up late for other people and you stroll in 5-10 minutes late and you think you can just carry on. Not with my workshops. I'm very clear and specific about that, especially maybe not so much at a Congress, because many things are back to back and you have to find your way to another room. But if you're signed up to a workshop with me directly, where you have advance notice, there's nothing happening before, well, then I do expect that timeliness. And I explain in detail the element of respect that it entails when you do show up early, which is on time. Likewise, in workshops, there are many times that I have been in a workshop, usually waiting to teach the next one, and I see the instructor, they're speaking. I am maybe around the back or the side of the room. There are people having conversations over here, loud enough for me to feel like they're interfering with the attention that the students can give to the instructor. People are on their phones, there's so much distraction taking place. And even in my workshops, many times when I'm starting a workshop, especially if it's starting after another person, I always insist and request that anyone who's here from the previous workshop who's not staying for this workshop, please take their conversations outside. I have made those requests directly to instructors who are just teaching before me because, of course, people want to take pictures, right? You're like, yeah, let's take a photo. And that when it's me finishing my workshop, I'm like, yes, let's take a photo. Let's run outside the room. I don't want to interrupt this instructor's class. But if I find instructors doing the same thing, I ask them. I say, hey guys, I'd like to start my class. Can you please do your photos outside? Does it sound rude? Well, it depends on if you were teaching. Would you want that? Would you want me standing in the front of the room or to the side of the stage taking photos and disrupting your class? Of course you wouldn't. So extending that respect to another instructor is the same. But that's part of setting up your environment for success, because I don't want my students to be distracted by these things that don't contribute to their learning and to their growth in that moment. And so I do have control over that environment. That is my room for that hour or whatever period of time I have it. That's my room. And so I'm going to make sure that that room is set up for success. So how are we exercising our control over our own environments so that we can provide the most responsible leadership to our students, to our participants?